senses, like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms, let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. Let me lay down beside you, let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. You fill up my senses, like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Hi kids, yes, me here, Ukulele Bobby, and welcome to the tutorial portion of that song, Annie's Song, which of course is by the late great, wonderful John Denver. And before we get into the tutorial, I'd like to talk a little bit about the fact that this is the first in hopefully a big series of songs that I'm going to do in tandem, in partnership, with the very famous Jim's Ukulele Songbook, which I've got loaded up here. Now, if you've not already got Jim's Ukulele Songbook, I recommend strongly that you download it immediately, post-haste, because it's huge. There's nearly 3,000 songs on there now, all completely free, and check out the link in the comments section below and you can download it. My top tip, it'll work on computer, obviously smartphones, but my top tip is get it on a tablet if you've got one, which is what loads and loads of people do that I've met in ukulele clubs. It'll sit nicely in your favourite PDF player and it looks fantastic. All the songs are in the same format. So let's just have a quick look before we get into the tutorial. Like I say, all the songs are in the same format. And here is the latest entry, Annie's Song. Artist Ukulele Bobby. I'm very chuffed and pleased. Thanks so much, Jim, for considering me the artist here, as well as the purveyor of the ludicrous video. Yeah, and like I say, all the songs look pretty much the same. You've got the lyrics mapped out here, and obviously the chord changes, they're in line with the lyrics, so you know when there's a new chord going to happen, and the lyric is immediately after the chord change, if that makes sense. So just going to go over here to the other key section, almost always on the right hand side, what I call the palette of chords. So what I do if I'm practicing alone at home or even at a club, I will look at the chords first and make sure I'm comfortable with them all. And you can see here you've got your A minors and D minor in the song, F major, conventional, like the typical version of this song. I've added one or two substitutions in there that I prefer. Okay then, so let's have a look at chords of note in this version. I'll try and do them roughly in the order that they appear in the song, in my version of the song anyway. So starting off with C5, C in the open position is normally, as you'll know, probably played thusly, which is 0-0-0-3 looking down. I don't really like C in that way. I'll be honest with you. There, I've said it. I much prefer C5, and whenever it sounds right, I do tend to use C5 as a substitution. It sounds a little bit more punchy. So yeah, C5, which is 0-0-3-3. So you've added your third finger at the third fret on the E string. So yeah, so there's the C5. In the opening sequence, in the intro, I cut to the F major, and the sharp-eyed amongst you might notice that I'm doing actually a hammer-on. And this is a technique that I use all the time. It's developing a chord to another chord, really, rather than just stock moving from C to F. So if you want to give that a go, fair dues. You'll find yourself doing it a lot, I think. It's a country-type move. But yeah, so I'll go C5 and then momentarily switch to the normal C and hammer in the F. So momentarily open and then whack the F in with the C still covered there, which is a lovely thing. You'll find yourself doing, that's the kind of thing that you'll stay awake a couple of extra hours of an evening practicing. So let me give you that full throttle. And I've not indicated it as a chord because it's a move really, but it will work perfectly well if you do the play along or with a group and you just do a normal F. But perhaps not as clever. Anyway, moving on, I have substituted the conventional E minor. I should say that I'm actually playing with a low G at the moment, which does make a difference, but all of these chord substitutions are fine either way. So, yes, conventional E minor shape with the top string, or bottom string as some people call it, G string is open, but I will fret that at the 4th fret. So I'm switching these fingers over to play what I call the adult E minor. And that's indicated in your song sheet as well. So moving on, out of sync now. Yeah, later on in the song, when I do the very tender, breathy bit, I do cut to an E minor 7. You'll notice that there, the bit that's at the end of the section where I hum. Yeah, I do play an E minor 7. Kind of a happy accident, really, if I'm honest. On that take, I did notice that it sounded quite bonny, so I left it in. Love E minor 7. Love all the minor 7s. So that is played, I probably normally would play it with this finger setup, which is 0-2-0-2, and I've got second finger, 2nd fret on the C string, and I've got 3rd finger, 2nd fret on the A string. Lovely. Got a vibe to it, of course, being a minor 7. And then the only other thing of note, really, and again, I've not indicated this in the chords on the song sheet or actually the scrolling chords on the video, but when we've got these multiple Gs and G7s, I will rock in a sus4, which is, it's a momentary thing, so I've not indicated it as a chord. But say, for example, when it'll go... do that all the time, really. It's just a way to develop chords. A sus chord, incidentally, if you've not come across them before, they're sort of an amendment to a chord in order to add a little bit of tension. The reason why it says suspended is because it's suspended waiting to go somewhere. So you'll very rarely actually get a sus chord that will stay in position because by definition it's suspense waiting to go to its more conventional chord variant. So in other words, G sus4, you're always waiting for it to climb down back to a normal G, as with the G7 sus4, tension, release. And to make the sus4 with either of those chords, you add a finger in my case, the fourth, pinky finger, third fret of the A string. There it is. So similarly to what I said before about the hammer-on, you can play my version of it without the sus4s, but you just might want to have that as a little bit of working knowledge for why they're there and give them a go if you wish. You'll see how I use it in the piece now I've mentioned it. So yeah. Like a storm in the desert. That kind of thing. I've forgotten how to play it already. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's do the final portion of this tutorial. The all-important rhythm then. No one will ever know this, but I've just actually filmed a version of this in which I massively overcomplicated things. What? Don't tell him. I've already told him. But yes, let's just keep it simple. Even though it's quite a busy rhythm, it's got a 3 feel to it, hasn't it? A 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Fill up my senses, 2, 3, bang, 2, 3, clang, 2, 3. So I guess it's kind of a waltz flavour. It's probably busier than that. I mean, if we're talking mathematics and music, it may be a 6/8 or even possibly a 12/8. But let's consider the 3-ness of it, because that's the way to keep things simple, I'm sure. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's just break that down then in terms of what you guys can do as an exercise. So try and get the 1, 2, 3 going, but it's really a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And always think rhythms in terms of these pendulum motions that you don't deviate from, because it's all about trying to keep the flow. I'm trying to keep the flow while I'm talking. Very, very difficult. 1 and a 1 and a 1. That's what it really is, this one. It's 1 and a 1 and, with the and being an upstroke. So it's 1 and a 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 1, 2, 3. So if you want to develop that further, you can add in sometimes this extra 3 downbeat. So it's a 1 and a 1, 2, 3, 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 1 and a 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I'm quite pleased actually. I think for me, I've kept that fairly simple. Hope it's not too complex in the way that I've explained it. But anyway, think of the 3 motion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do exercises to keep that going. Try and get that into your subconscious. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and keep that always going, because as soon as you break away from the constancy of a rhythm, that's when it starts to sound really stilted and horrible and no longer a flowing rhythm. And because it's fast and busy in a sense, it needs to be very flowing. And notice that's the key. That never stops until the song's finished. It must always be there, or else you just lose the feel. Even on a tender bit where there doesn't seem to be any rhythm. But really there is. Anyway, on that bombshell, hope that was okay for you. Hope you enjoyed that. And the song, of course, hoping to do lots more of these in tandem with the lovely Jim and his wonderful ukulele songbook. So yeah, it's been very enjoyable talking to you as ever. See you on the next one.